Hey guys, welcome back. Hopefully, the first part of the lesson was A-okay. We're just going to continue with a short little day two. Alright, just a couple of example problems just to kind of refresh and maybe help answer a couple of questions. And once we do that, you have one more assignment on Big Ideas Math for the week, and then that's it for Algebra 1. Then you're done for the week. Alright, don't procrastinate, get it done as soon as possible. And if you have questions, please come see me during my office hours on Zoom. I'm super bored and I miss you guys. So please stop by and just say hi, even if you don't have a question. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to finish up, all right, with 9.5. So I can solve quadratic equations multiple ways. Okay, so with what we did on 9.5 day 1, okay, we just learned about the quadratic formula, all right, and how it works. But, all right, what we encounter from here on out, okay, you don't necessarily have to use a quadratic formula. You could just factor it. You could solve it with square roots, all right. The quadratic formula is kind of a last resort that involves a lot of math, but it will always work. So why don't we go ahead and jump into example. All right. And I'm always going to start by seeing if I can factor it, because factoring it is a lot easier and a lot less of a headache to do. So I'm just going to start with the x method. But first, I actually want to make this equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So I have x squared minus 10x minus 1 equals 0. So I'm going to use this now to go off of. All right, so I multiply to negative 1, but I add to negative 10. Okay, so I can't think of any numbers that do that. So what I'm going to do, all right, because this doesn't work, all right, then we're just going to use quad form. Okay, so I have the opposite of b. All right, so opposite of negative 10 is positive 10, plus or minus the square root of negative 10 squared minus 4 times a, because there's nothing in front of our square term. There's really a 1 there. So I'm going to put a 1 there. And then c, which is negative 1. And then it's going to be all over 2 times a, like we said, was 1. All right, so 10 plus or minus. I'm just going to clean up some things. All right, 100. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 1 is plus 4. And that's going to be over 2 times 1, 2. So now I have 10 plus or minus the square root of 104 over 2. So 10 plus the square root of 104 over 2 equals, I already did this, it's going to equal roughly 10.1. All right, so 10 minus the square root of 104 over 2, that's going to roughly equal negative 0.1. Okay? So when you multiply those, they end up equaling negative 1. But when you multiply them, you end up getting the right answer. Anyways, so your x equals x equals 10.1 and negative 0.1. And ta-da, that is it. All right. All right, for b now, I'm going to start off the same way. I'm going to do my x method. All right, so remember we have to do 2 times negative 24. It's negative 48. That goes up top, and then the negative 13 goes down below. So I'm going to think of two numbers that multiply to negative 48 but add to negative 13, or are just 13 apart, if you want to think of it that way. So 1 and 48, nope. 2 and 24, nope. 3 and 16, yep, those work. So 3 and 16, okay, those are our options. And then remember, we need to divide by the 2 in front for both our answers. Okay, I also want to remember that we need to add to negative 13. So because we have a negative number, our bigger number is negative, so it's a negative 16. And then I divide or simplify if I can, so I get negative 8. That means we have x minus 8 for this one. Okay, and because we have a fraction, if you remember that, all right, the denominator becomes the coefficient of your x. All right, and then you get what am I trying to say? The numerator becomes what you add or subtract. So then it's going to be plus 3. Okay. So then, if I just smush those together, 2x plus 3, x minus 8 equals 0. All right. So then you just need to set each of those equal to 0. X minus 8 equals 0. Pretty straightforward. That's just straight up going to give you x equals 8. All right, for this one, I'm going to subtract 3 first. So I get 2x equals negative 3, and then I just need to divide by 2. So x equals negative 3 over 2. So those are your two answers. So x equals negative 3 over 2 and 8. Ta-da! Awesome. So then all we got, last problem now, okay? X squared plus 8x plus 12. So start the same way. I'm going to see if I can factor it out. Factoring is always going to be easier. So 12 times the 1 up here is 12, and then 8. So two numbers that multiply to 12 but add to 8. So 1 and 12, no. 2 and 6, yeah, those work. So that means this is x plus 2, and then this is x plus 6. So then we just need to smush those two together. All right, and then I set each of those equal to 0. So x plus 2 equals 0, x plus 6 equals 0. Subtract 2, x equals negative 2. Subtract 6 from both sides, x equals negative 6. All right, so then that gives us our answer of x equals negative 2, negative 6. Okay, so that is it for the notes for today. Okay, short, sweet, to the point, just kind of a little bit more practice and saying, hey, we don't necessarily need to always resort to the quadratic formula. Sometimes we can just start out by factoring. All right, and if that's the case, I would take that route. So that's it. I will put up the answers to the try it yourselves. All right, make sure you are giving an honest effort, okay, and completing your work and not procrastinating. All right, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Visit me during my Zoom hours. All right, it's 10 to 12 every morning, so you have a 2-hour window. Hopefully you're awake by then. Just come and ask me questions. But if not, keep working really hard, you guys. I'm super proud of the work you guys have done so far. And I'll see you in the next video.